Hey YouTube, Abby here. In today's Overwatch video, I'll be VOD reviewing a silver gold Genji player by the name of the Emperor. He reached out to me on Reddit by the username of @DapperCLion. @DapperCLion, I hope this is you. I kind of went through the VOD and I realized that there was no other Genji player in this match, so I'm going to assume you were the one with the Oni skin. Great skin choice, but did the skin give you a buff in performance? That is what we're gonna analyze today. Little jokes aside, let's get started with the VOD review. So @DapperCLion or the Emperor, the fact that you're in silver means you're kind of far from being an emperor, right? That's my position right now. So the Emperor, the King, the tribal chief of the Genji players, I'm going to sit down today and VOD review. So I personally kind of want to keep this muted for a second because I get distracted sometimes by the sounds. I'm going to analyze, so how I coach is I like to analyze a few team fights, and we like to narrow down the bad habits, because bad habits are a lot more important than just the general gameplay mechanics. Gameplay mechanics can be learned, but bad habits, they kind of stick with you and they kind of ruin everything. So even here, that was a little thing that you shouldn't have done. I'll excuse that for now. I kind of want to watch like a full team fight with you, and then we'll like kind of talk about what's going on, right? So I can already see some mistakes here and there, some positional issues, and I see a little bit of fear as well, and that's perfectly fine. I understand at lower elos of play. Excuse me. People are a lot more hesitant about engaging. So as you can see, the reason for that hesitation has kind of led to you guys falling apart, and you've not really done anything realistically in this team fight. You also have the lowest ult charge on your team, bar the Moira. But that's perfectly fine. In the Moira's case, it makes sense because you have two main healers, and that means that healing is high, but one main healer will sacrifice ult charge for another. Sorry, I'm kind of analyzing the whole team fight, but I'm going to kind of go back and now analyze what you did in this team fight. So @DapperCLion Emperor, what went wrong in this team fight is, first of all, you didn't take an aggressive position, and I'm gonna talk about that. You stopping here, to say hello or to, oh, I must stay with my team, that alone cost you a team fight. And I'm going to explain in just a moment. So first of all, Genji's position, more often than not, in an early fight scenario, is that, he's a flanker DPS. He kind of wants to be in the back line, in the sides, like coming at you like a velociraptor. If you've ever watched Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, then, Genji's like the velociraptor of the team, So you kind of want your flankers like not in this area. It's perfectly fine to play with your team, but you like especially in the early game, because momentum has not been established. That is the perfect chance for you to turn the things into your favor, and basically you force the enemy team, which is this blue team, I'm assuming, to play your game, right? So you want them to play your game. You don't want them. You don't want to play their game. What I mean by that is you don't want them to decide the momentum and pacing. So Genji is really, really good with that. Now, you staying here sacrifices a lot of positional advantage. What do I mean by positional advantage? I'm going to explain to you in just a second. So, for example, in that amount of time, you could have dashed over here. You could have scouted out what the enemy has, and you're like, oh, they got Junkrat. So you might deflect a few of the Junkrat shots. Maybe try to go in for a dash, get a free kill. Maybe you're like, okay, they have Junkrat. You communicate it to your team, implying you're in voice. If you're not in voice, it's fine. You can quickly write it down. You don't have to, but it's good for you to know early on that what should I expect. Like, okay, they have Junkrat, so Junkrat Genji matchup is a little bit more Genji favored. It can go in the Junkrat's way, but if you play it smart and you know how you're going in, I do have a Genji matchup guide coming, so do look out for that one. But it's a great way to kind of like understand how to pressure set Junkrat player and then move in on him. So this guy kind of becomes like a nice kill to go for. Now then we spot the tanks and we're like, okay, they're playing Orisa, so they're going to be playing some sort of a bunker comp, which means that more often than not, they just kind of want to sit in like one spot. So what does that mean for you, right? You want to get value, right? You're like, okay, they're going to sit in one spot. So that means you as a Genji player, because they're going to be sitting on the spot more often than not, whoa, hello, camera controls, you are allowed to kind of move around the map. You can kind of come here, you can take this route back here, you can flank behind them, you can apply some pressure, and if you feel like they're about to like put some pressure on you, you can immediately just get out of the team fight and regroup with your team. So kind of like just like this small things that I just mentioned These are actually like really, really important. Even you doing this, like, are you doing anything? You're not doing anything. What are you doing? You're shooting into shields. This is why barrier watch is going away for Overwatch 2. Like, this, what you're doing just gives this false fallacy to Overwatch players. This is kind of also a reason why a lot of players get stuck in low elos, is just because they're shooting this. Like, you have to understand that you excel at dueling, right? You kind of like you use the tanks to build blade. Now I'm gonna view this from an Overwatch 1 perspective. I know we're going into Overwatch 2 and there will be some slight adjustments over there. But in this case, you like, the only time you really want to pressure tanks is when you're really trying to build up ult, or if you feel like the tanks are pressured to the point that you can secure a kill, then you really want to push on them, right? But at the moment, you're doing nothing for your team. You're not building any ult charge. Like, you're doing nothing. You're still shooting the shield. Okay, you're deflecting some damage. It's fine. That was an okay deflect, and then you got up with dash. Now, there's just one problem with you doing all of this, right? So far, you've done absolutely nothing for your team. All right, like, I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. You've done nothing for your team, and like, you deflected a little bit, and then you kind of backed out. So what that like indirectly says to the enemy team, right, is like, oh, they don't have anything to pressure us. Like, the Ryan has kind of backed out, right? The Ryan, he got some ult. Like, the Ryan is probably the most aggressive one on your team. He has the highest ult charge. And Ana is like, getting there too. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people that haven't really done anything. And you know why? It's because all of you were shooting the shield. You could have like understood that, okay, they're playing the shield here. Maybe Zarya like tries to push in with the Rhine and you try to push in with the Rhine, but you can off angle and you can like pressure from this side here, like this door here. You can off angle over here and then just do some spam damage and try to force the enemy team to move, and then like, you can like slowly kind of push in and then like dash through like 1, 2, 3, 4 people, get a little bit of ult charge, and then use your deflect and then kind of back away. So I do that. If I was in this scenario, that's kind of what I would do. Now, there's one thing I want to clarify. By no means am I saying go get a kill, right? If you are in a position where you can get a kill, then go get a kill. But like, in a moment like this, right now, nothing looks to be in your favor, right? Like, Overwatch is such a beautiful game from this perspective that everything is dependent on niche interactions, right? So over here, you did like legitimately nothing. Now, as you can see, right, the soldier was kind of low, right? Like, he got healed a little bit here and there, but this is the type of interaction that a Genji player should be aware about. I don't know if you on your screen when you like, I think you got a few shurikens on the soldier when you saw him low. That's the moment where you need to use your dash. You need to get where this Doomfist was, and you need to confirm this kill. This little interaction is what's going to get you from this low elo into the higher elo, right? Like, I'm not gonna try to view this from a comp perspective because I can criticize a lot of things about the Doomfist pick, about the 2 main healers, about, oh, they're playing bunker and you should play this. I'm just going to look at it from this perspective that, hey, Abby, I just want to improve my Genji gameplay because in Overwatch 2, I really want to pop off. And Genji's a really good hero pick over there. So at the moment, you've done absolutely nothing other than just deflect damage. Like, it's kind of, I'm going to be real with you, it's just pathetic because all this ult charge you've built, it was through no flanking, it was through no pressuring, it was just completely deflecting some damage and then just this little poke. You're not doing anything. Right now, you're wasting your time. Your team kind of lost this team fight, and I'm sure they've like backed out and they're regrouping. This is where you need to like check your surroundings every now and then just kind of back out. You're 1v6ing, and you're not accomplishing anything. You try to take this duel with the Ana, but because the Ana hasn't been pressured all game at all, she has her cooldown, right? She's not using her cooldowns. Even if you like somehow survive this nade, she's got sleep ready for you, right? Like, have a look at this. She's got sleep just coming back in 2 seconds, and you have to be careful, right? So we're gonna have a look at the next team fight. So that team fight, what did we take away from that? You didn't do anything. You're shooting shields, and any ult charge that you've built so far has been just meaningless poke that has been immediately healed up. And it is what it is. We get the gist of it. All right, not the best team fight. Let's watch the next one. So over here, doing some nice poke damage. Don't like, just be a little bit careful not to like walk just in a complete straight line. That's very predictable movement. The Roadhog could have gotten an easy hook on you. I just think he because you were in the range, in my opinion. I just think he didn't believe in himself, or he didn't have the cooldown, but it's fine. So moving from here, you always like, good thing, I like that you're always jumping around. Jumping around is important, right? Now, again, you see, you're looking at tanks way too much. You need to not do that. There's nothing wrong with that because, like, Well, there is like slightly wrong. So what you're doing is you're putting your like all your I like, yeah, you're looking at the Ana. I like that. No, 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 no. You need to not, like, listen. You need to decide on one target, right? And commit to a target. Like, you look at a target, you apply some pressure, but then you just give up on it. Like, you're like, oh no, I don't want to try and get the kill here, right? You like, there you go. That's a nice dash, but that's very late into the team fight. The reason this dash was, oh my god, I really hope you don't die here. But the reason this dash was possible was not because of your own pressure. It was because of the pressure that your team created, right? If you want to be able to carry on Genji, you have to create your own pressure. This is not good. You're actually feeding right now, right? You're feeding because, again, and this is what I meant. You were not able to follow up on your own aggression because that aggression originally was not created by you, right? So you like, you, I don't know how to explain it, but it's something that you kind of feel that, oh, I did this, I'm going to keep following up on it. Be a little bit more careful. Do not overextend. Watch your team a little bit more. All right. Anyways, so okay, this is interesting. All right. So right. So okay. All right. This is okay. This is interesting. This okay. Wow. This I got a little headache from this one. All right. I'm gonna be okay. You know, it's been a while since I've watched a lot of low elo games, so sometimes when I see certain things that doesn't work on the top and I know they work at the bottom, you know what? I'm gonna give you this one. I'm gonna give you this one. I think it's okay. You wanted to keep the pressure going for your team. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I think over here you got a little bit impatient, a little bit frustrated that, hey, we're not really doing anything. So I wanna like take the blade play and kind of keep it going. So you know what? I'm gonna give you some points. You need to have this type of aggression. You need to have this type of playmaking ability that, damn it, I want to go in, I want to do something. But let me give you a warning. When you are doing this, you need to understand how to scout properly. Because in that scenario, if you're playing in a high elo game, even if you go into like mid or high plat or even low diamond, that blade that you just did actually gets punished. Like, okay, you're getting bullied here. Your dueling skills are not there. This is not good. So one pattern I'm noticing as well is that your dueling skills are horrible right now. You're unable to take these individual 1v1s and win a team fight, right? Let's go straight into the next map. Okay, so we've already identified some of these bad habits, like like you are unable to create your own individual pressure. You're unable to duel things effectively, like that Ana, you got killed. Then the Junkrat's gotten you, I think, one or two times on that previous map. So let's go into the next map. Farah's gotten you an early pick. You have a 5v6. All right, you're just looking at the tanks. That's another bad habit. You're only looking at the tanks. Now I like this. You're looking here. You're right. Use your dash and you lose. Okay. All right, that's fine. I don't think we saw the Winston over there. I think maybe the Winston came in at the last moment, but try to anticipate your plays a little bit more. So in a lot of my guide videos, especially my shuriken combo guide, okay, the Winston was here. I just didn't notice him because I kind of am wanting to focus you winning these duels. You winning these duels is more important. If you can trade your life for a soldier or something like that, right? Maybe one or two picks, you losing to a tank is completely fine. Again, in the perspective that we are trying to get you out of silver and gold and up into higher elo, right? Anyways, so yeah, this does not go in our favor. But the thing is, like, another thing I'm noticing is that you get the right idea, but it's like it's coming at the wrong time. You need to have, like, in like as you're entering a team fight, that's when you want to pressure the enemy DPS and the enemy, you know, backline, and like not look at the enemy tanks to begin with, right? Because that's like it's going to deter your focus. Nice poke over there. That was some really good poke. All right. By the way, just in case if you have any questions in between the VOD review, leave them in the comments and we can talk about things, right? And I would highly recommend that you check out my guide videos straight from the start to finish. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. I actually leave a lot of tips in these guide videos. I know I got a request from some people to kind of review it all in one video, so I might just do that. And if you don't mind, I'd like to use some of your footage to kind of talk about like low elo and high elo as well. Anyways, so this Winston's kind of coming in. Winston is a pretty good counter to Genji, but you handled that pretty well. I like your defensive play. Your defensive play is really good, but like the problem I have is that you're not good at being aggressive, right? Like your passive play is really good. Like you being able to punish what's coming in, that's not the problem, right? Let's give you some points. So you understand passive. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. It wins you the team fight. All right. It wins you the team fight. So the one thing about this blade, or maybe your other blades, the previous one that you did, that I didn't like was that I don't see you scouting and anticipating. It's kind of like oh, I'm gonna just go in. All right, like it's a little bit more than that, and I'll explain in just a moment. Right. So for example, I'm gonna tell you as we enter this next team fight. Let us just kind of speed this up so we can get closer and closer. So Soldier's kind of flanking the background. That's perfectly fine. We're not worried about him. It's a free kill for you. This is a free kill. If this gets away, okay, nice, nice. Anyway, so now we're entering this next team fight, right? So I kind of want to give a hypothetical example in just a moment. I kind of want to see how you handle things because you might just answer, like my yeah, okay, so you didn't. All right, fair enough. So so first of all, you need to become a little bit better at following up on your combos, right? You focusing the Doomfist here was actually the perfectly fine play, right? We got a lot of people looking at it and you just didn't see this. Like this is not your fault. This is perfectly fine, right? But the one thing is, like, again, your aggression is coming once you start feeling like my team is putting pressure, so I need to put pressure. What you need to understand on Genji is that the reason Genji is considered a pub stomper is because he's able to create and define his own pressure without relying on other people, right? At the moment, what I keep noticing is that you're relying a lot on somebody else to do something, and then you feel comfortable. Now, I'm going to tell you a mistake in this little team fight over here. So, huge mistake coming up. Just give us a second to reach that point. Okay, so you enter this fight and you get the pick on the Soldier. That's perfectly fine. You're actually in such a good position to pop off right now and carry this. But do you know what mistake you make over here? I'm going to give you like exactly 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. You did not focus this immortality field, right? So I know from your perspective you can't see it, but you can see the blue outlines. When you see this, you have to take a creative approach. Now I'm gonna tell you how you could have taken this. And when you when you got the shurikens on this Doomfist, you realize, oh, he's not dying, right? Even if you dash over here and get behind him, right? You're just like, he won't die. What you want to do is you want to use dash to look a little bit upwards to kind of like not only dodge like the attention that's here, but because like you'll kind of be like in this area, you'll have like a good 1 or 1.5 seconds to kind of breathe. And that's the point where you focus down this immortality field and then throw your shurikens at this Doomfist, right? Do not look at this Roadhog. This decision making is extremely, extremely important. This is what makes a good Genji from the average Genjis, right? This is how, like, this little decision making, this 1, this 2, and this 3, right? An average Genji player would ignore this, would go for this because, oh, it's easier to hit, and this Doomfist wrecks your backline, right? So the thing, or, just focus in this scenario, just kind of like looking at this Doom over here, right? So once you notice these small, like blue outlines or things like this, you have to take a creative approach. So, your Pharah is already trying to shoot at that, and it should have been your priority. Like, even over here, you try to go for a dash, the dash has started the cooldown, and you do not pay attention that there's an immortality field, and the Doomfist begins to punish you. This Doomfist dies 9 times out of 10 if the immortality field gets focused down, because the Pharah is like a here too, right? Like, he's pressuring this with you. Except there's one problem. The one time that he does not die is the fact that the immortality field does not get focused. Now, what happens as a result of that? You get bullied, right? You must prioritize these type of things. They do make a difference in team fights. If there are Symmetra turrets, if there are a Torbjorn turret, you should poke these things down. So unfortunately, right, I am going to be, we're reaching the end of the game, so I'm just gonna like speed it up from this point on because this is last fight territory. And I will give my final concluding thoughts on what you need to improve and what I think was the big takeaway from this gameplay, right? And it's pretty much everything I've already mentioned so far. But, I don't want to sound rude and I don't want to come off mean or anything like that. But I know, like, when you speak the truth and you're being honest, again, in this team fight, you didn't really do anything. When you're trying to teach people things and everything, the one thing we all have to understand is that when we want to improve, the criticism that we receive may come off as harsh, because nobody likes to hear that, oh, I was wrong with what I did. Like you told me in the Reddit comment that your team said that you threw, right? And I'm going to be real with you. You did. This match was thrown so hard by you, and you need to accept that. When you accept that, you can move on and become better. Now, what was the main causes? I'm going to tell you. as a Genji is a duelist specialist. He's great at isolating targets and winning duels. There are a very small amount of characters that can kind of outduel Genji, but if you become really, really good and you understand how to approach them and how to use your cooldowns, you'll excel at that. Again, I got a matchup video that's coming, and it's going to be the longest video I've done so far for the Genji guide series that I'm doing, because I really want to go in depth about this thing. And then my current guide videos, they already talk about this, so do check them out, right? So in this scenario, you did not win in this match. You did not win your duels. That cost you a lot of team fights. You were not able to get value from the shuriken combos. That was your biggest problem. You did not get value from combos. You barely got individual picks. You could not win your duels. All right. Deflect was a primary means for you to build out charge because people were needlessly shooting at it. But once you start going up in elo, that's going to stop, right? Because people will not shoot deflect. People will know how to punish you. People will counter pick you a lot more, right? And kind of in this game, I don't want to say anybody counter picked you, because in lower elos, people just kind of like play whatever they're good at. But once you're like, once you realize that people are counter picking you, your effectiveness is going to go down, and you learn like another hero to swap to play better, or you really begin to understand how to play better. Now, I will give you something, right? You had an excellent understanding of how to peel for your team. So if you don't know what peeling means, peeling is basically like, like one of your teammates is being harassed, or there's something in your backline, and you kind of go back to kind of deal with it and then move on. The problem that was happening is that you did everything except one part, move on. It seemed like you kind of wanted to rely a lot more on your tanks to do something. Now, that is perfectly fine. Even at higher levels of play, it is more on the tanks to create opportunities, right? But if the tanks create opportunities, if they create space, if they give you areas to play in, it is now your job to go in and do something, and that's what I didn't see you do. I want to see another VOD from you, let's say maybe a few days from now, after watching some of my videos and my VOD reviews and other things, right? And I want you to come back and send me another VOD and show me if you've understood or learned what I was talking about. And in case anything in here felt confusing for you, please do reach out to me in the comments and we can discuss a lot more in detail, right? I really, really feel like you have the potential to improve, and we can at least get you to Diamond before Overwatch 2 comes out. And I know you can do it, all right? You just have to take into account that you have to do things by yourself. The only time I saw that was with Dragonblade, but you have to understand, you have to be very careful with Dragonblade usage. Just because this little random times where you just got fed up and you pulled out Dragonblade and wanted to like turn the tide, this is going to start getting punished. This is probably the reason why you linger around silver and gold, is because like you reach a point where what you do works, but then it stops, you drop back down, and then you just can't find the way out, right? So that is my general advice. I'm kind of repeating myself now. So in case you have a lot more comments, or you're like, hey, Abby, you said this, but I don't understand. I did this, but, we can talk a little bit more about in depth in the comments, because, if I'm doing this offline, not in a live Discord call or something like that, or even on a Twitch stream where I can actually communicate with you, I have to go by a lot of different assumptions, right? So in general, though, I hope this was helpful. I hope you can follow up with me in the future. And I really, really enjoyed this. And I genuinely hope I didn't come off too harsh, but I like to be very realistic and objective with how I teach people the game. Because like once you get it down in your head, like what not to do and what to do, from that point on, it is smooth sailing. So anyways, that's it for this video. Liking and subscribing are free ways to support the channel. And I hope to see you in the next one. And to anybody else that may have watched this VOD review, I hope you were able to learn something as well. With that being said, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.